Hey, yo, what's decent? Yo, I have a crazy battle that I had last month against my boy MegaDPAL, yo. And yes, Orlando Kennedy, MegaDPAL is my dude, so we do talk. But anyway, he's gonna lead up with Tornadoes and switches right out into Heatran. Reason being, because he has Prankster. I'm pretty sure that he could have went for the Thunder Wave, but at the same time, he doesn't know what kind of Latios that I am. So it'd be kind of foolish to just go for the Thunder Wave, waste a perfectly good Pokemon in an attempt to paralyze Latios. So I could just retaliate back and kill it with the Draco Meteor. So that's why he decided to switch out into Heatran. Heatran resists that. I'm going to switch it to my Smeargle, predicting him to go for the Stealth Rocks and or support move. He goes and uses Toxic, which is great. I mean, even if it wasn't attacking Heatran, just as long as it's not a timid natured like Choice Spikes or Choice Scarf Heatran, I can outspeed it and put it to sleep, or put something else to sleep that he might want to switch out into. So now he's going to go for the Lava Plume, predicting me in a sense not to go for the sleep move, because he does show me the Toxic, which also means that he has to protect. So that was a great move there. So just to ensure that I do have the Sticky Web up, I'm thinking that Sticky Web is more important in this case scenario than putting something to sleep, because, you know, he has a lot of things that can be slowed down for me, like for instance his Garchomp. When I do have the Magmortar with the Focus Energy that I will present to you a little bit later on, that will be able to outspeed Garchomp, and it could mean the difference between a win and a loss, you know, things like that. So now I'm going to bring in my boy Terrakion, and I haven't seen this thing in play for a long period of time. He brings in Landorus. I completely forget about that, actually. Otherwise, I would have went straight for the Stone Edge. So now I'll go for the close combat. I am Muscle Banded because I like Muscle Banded over Expert Belt, because in case scenarios like this. Now let's say if I'm Expert Belted. Now Expert Belt Stone Edge won't inflict more damage onto the Landorus because it's not super effective damage, whereas Muscle Band doesn't really give a crap whether you take super effective damage from the attack or not. You're still getting that added percentage inflicted onto you. So now I'm just going to switch into my Latios, which was a hard switch for me in a sense, because he could have actually went for the U-turn, and I thought about that move so much. I'm like, he might want to set up rocks and or go for the U-turn right there to keep its momentum. So now he switches into Azumarill, and I kind of predict that because in a sense, if he went out into Heatran, I could go for the Side Shock and then switch it up and go for the Surf to finish it off. Or he could actually predict that and go for the Azumarill too. That was pretty great there. So I predict him to save his Azumarill here, hence my switch out into Magnezone, and then I'm going to lock myself into Flash Cannon since I have Magnezone in on Azumarill because he has both Landorus and Garchomp in play. So I kind of did want to go for the HP Ice, but I didn't want to reveal that just yet, so I went for the Flash Cannon. So now I'm just going to switch right the hell out. Heatran is a huge threat to my party, man. And since the switch is so painfully obvious, he's going to go for the Toxic to inflict some status damage on my Magmortar, which is great actually, because that affords me a free opportunity to go for the Focus Energy, since I also know that he's going to want to go for the Protect just to scout to see what I would do. And hopefully I'm correct, and yes, he does actually. I was actually debating because that's a little bit risky there. He hasn't shown me his last move. I was thinking that he also has Substitute, because it could be like Protect, Substitute, Lava Plume, and, you know, Toxic. But he also could have Earth Power so that, you know, other fire types don't wall it completely, or other Heatrans, you know. So now since I have the Focus Energy and I have the Scope Lens, every one of my hits are gonna inflict critical hits, and he switches out into Azumarill as Death Rider, which is great for me because I don't have to worry about this thing inflicting any damage to me later on in the form of Aqua Jet. So now he's just gonna switch in his Thunderous, and hopefully he can like take me out. Well, obviously he's gonna be able to take me out with, like, let's say a Thunderbolt. I was hoping I could live like the Vault Switch because I do have a little bit of HP investment, so I was actually hoping that I could probably get off a nice little Focus Blast on whatever decides to switch in. Plus, since he kills me, I get Switch Initiative or whatever he decides to switch into, which is great actually. So now he switches into Heatran, and I'm like, okay, I can probably bring in Terrakion, which is the best thing. I think that he was probably baiting me to bring in Terrakion, I'm not exactly sure. So now I'm just gonna go for the Stone Edge because he has Landorus and Thunderous waiting in the back wings. But like I said before, I'm not exactly Choice Banded and or Choice Scarf, I'm Muscle Banded. So I'm going to switch up my moves now. It was important for me to go for the Stone Edge first, and then afterwards go for the close combat, as opposed to trying to finish off the Heatran and then switch it up and go for the Stone Edge on the incoming Landorus switching and not finish off the Landorus. So now I'm just going to go for the Stone Edge because I went for the Latios last turn that this happened, and he's going to go for the U-turn, predicting me to go right back into Latios, predicting him to go for the Earthquake. So now in comes Garchomp, and I'm thinking like, okay, let me just stay and go for the close combat because I do want to save my Terrakion also, but at the same time he can just go for the Outrage, predicting me to want to save Terrakion, you know, go for the Outrage and inflict super effective damage, obviously killing off my Latios, and plus he will be also also able to take another close combat and finish off Terrakion as well. So I decided to stay and go for the close combat to inflict some damage onto it, which is great. And then in comes Latios now. Since I'm faster, obviously, since he revealed himself to be a Mega Garchomp, I am just gonna go for the Clean Slate Draco Meteor. And now in comes the Rotom, which is so majestic right now. I'm actually gonna tell you guys why. Because I do have Choice Scarf Magnezone with HP Ice, so he has both Landorus and also Garchomp waiting in the wings. So now I can actually afford to get my Latios paralyzed as I go for the Side Shock here. And I should actually just went for the Draco Meteor just to ensure that I'm able to finish it off here, but I thought that the Side Shock damage will be able to finish it off. And then afterwards he goes for the Hidden Power Ice. Hopefully he'll be able to take me out, not quite. And I go for the Draco Meteor and I retaliate. It's a double down, which is great because his last two Pokemon are Landorus and Garchomp, which takes super effective quad weak damage, if you will, from an ice type attack. And plus, since Sticky Web is up, and I think that hopefully his Landorus is not scarfed, I can finish it off, and it turns out that it's not scarfed, so that's great. Yes, so that was a great game. I definitely had a lot of fun. Viewers, peace. What you doing?